Business news continues now, and India's economic growth in the fourth quarter of last year sped up unexpectedly. Economists had forecast the pace of growth to slow. The world's fastest growing major economy expanded some 8.4% in the 3 months ended December, and that is the country's third fiscal quarter. And that blows past as well the consensus forecast of 6.6% in a Bloomberg poll, and compares with a revised 8.1% growth in the preceding quarter. A moderation in government spending and uneven monsoon were expected to weigh on growth. Instead, robust manufacturing and construction activity buoyed India's economy. Earlier this week, U.S. investment banking firm Jefferies predicted India is poised to surpass Japan and Germany to become the world's third largest economy by the year 2027. That's more aggressive than earlier estimates from the likes of Goldman Sachs that see India rising to that rank by 2030. For more, Rebecca Bundan joins us. She's live for us from Mumbai. Rebecca, India's third quarter GDP beating expectations there. What does this mean, though, for Asia's third largest economy?
Yes, that's right. Economists had been forecasting growth of around 6.6% for that quarter to December on the year. And even that would have been a very positive, robust growth figure, albeit lower than the previous quarter for India. But this data came out and I think has taken everybody by surprise. Some economists will now be scratching their heads, I think, and looking at those numbers very carefully to look at their own calculations, because it's come through at 8.4% for that quarter, which is really an impressive growth figure. And this, of course, comes just a few weeks ahead of general elections that are going to be coming up in India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has really focused on the economy as being one of the key factors, the key areas that he's really wanted to work on while he's been Prime Minister. So certainly these figures are looking very positive as they've come through. India certainly is well positioned now to be one of the fastest growing major economies in the world, if not the fastest major economy in the world, with those kind of figures, certainly. And it's surprising as well because some economists had been talking about patchy consumer spending in some areas, particularly in rural areas. It's been a bit more of a struggle for rural parts of India to actually bounce back following the COVID-19 pandemic. They've also been struggling with stagnant wages and inflation as well. So that's come as a bit of a surprise there.
Strong growth indeed. But tell us what some of the other highlights are coming out of all this GDP data, Rebecca.
Yes, it's interesting to look at the different sectors, especially given that some economists had been saying that manufacturing was one of the areas that they saw actually slowing down. That's not really what we've seen with this data. We've seen a very positive figure coming through for the manufacturing sector in India. That's looking very robust. Also, construction as well, more than 10% growth in that quarter to December on the year. Other sectors, including real estate and financial services, performing at around a growth of around 9%. That's also a very strong figure. However, if we look closely at those numbers, one of the sectors that seems to have slightly underperformed is the agricultural sector. That came in at 3.8% growth, lower than many other sectors. And that comes as we're seeing these protests taking place by farmers who are demanding higher crop prices. So certainly that seems to be a bit of an area of concern potentially for India, particularly given how dependent the Indian population is on agriculture, with half of the population being dependent on it for their livelihoods. But otherwise, the numbers looking strong across most of the sectors, and India also revising its full year growth, its estimate for the full fiscal year, and it's revised that upwards as well.
Rebecca, thank you for that look at India's robust GDP numbers there. Rebecca Bundan there, live for us in Mumbai.